Hello, this is Alicia, and this is the fourth video in a series of videos that I've been producing every Wednesday since I left my full-time job. And as I lean into exploring who it is that I'm becoming, I will leave a link to my most recent blog post around the spider in the bathtub because it's a really good explanation and metaphor for where I am right now. I don't really know what it is I'm doing, and I don't know what it is I want to do when I grow up. And the best way for me to explore that is to kind of experience that job and see how it feels. Kind of giving myself little mini internships, kind of the same way that you would if you were a kid or a teenager or a college student trying to figure out what major you wanted to pick. You kind of try it on. You take a couple of classes, you imagine yourself doing that job, you imagine it forward, and you kind of sit in that space, in that role for a little while and try to understand how it would feel. And that's what I'm doing. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been attempting to be an author. I've been working on wearing the author hat and feeling my way into it for a couple of weeks now. And it's been really interesting to sit in that space and to let myself experience the things like the flow and how fulfilling that feels, but then also the anxiety and how that kind of manifests itself. I've been writing for a very long time. I started writing poetry when I was 12, and I've been writing novels off and on since the early 2000s. And for the last 5 years or so, I have had a monthly goal to submit some piece of writing to some publication somewhere once a month. And that's worked out fairly well for me. I do have some print clips. I have 5 anthologies that I've been accepted into, as well as some ebooks and some print magazines. All of these books live on my Proud of Myself shelf, which I would love to fill up in my library. The other thing that lives on the Proud of Myself shelf in the library are a series of houseplants, because I wanted to represent growth and possibility and healthy potential there. So until it fills up with books, there's going to be a plant on that shelf for the time being. The visuals in this particular video are kind of boring. It's basically the process of my workday during my wearing my author hat kind of idea. So I start off the day every day with my journal and my planner, and then I move into actually writing at my desk. And then at the end of my workday, after I've kind of completed what I want to set out to do in a day, I take the dog out for a fetch run. So like I said, the visuals aren't super exciting. There's a little time-lapse weird montage that I experimented with. But there's definitely some value to it. And it's been really interesting to explore how it feels to kind of live into the experience of being an author and trying on the author hat, especially as I'm moving into additional hats or different hats in the next couple of weeks. It's been really lovely to give myself a chance to do this and feel this way. Yeah. The things that I've been working on over the course of the last couple of weeks have been experiencing flow. I'm working on a new short story. I'm working on some edits of an existing collection of short stories. I'm also working on a nonfiction book proposal and the sample chapter to go with that, as well as finishing up some edits on academic chapters and papers that have been kind of long outstanding in my queue for a while. Both to clear the path for future work so that I'm not kind of blocked up with a lot of old stuff. Part of what I looked at when I was looking at the exhale idea was the concept of letting go and releasing the last of these projects that have just been kind of hanging over my head. So that's one of the things that I was working on during this time. I also kind of worked on the business of publishing, which is the marketing side of things. I've updated my website to a certain extent, not humongously, but kind of getting it closer to where I want it to be. I've also been working on growing my marketing platform because if I want to sell a book, I have to have a certain number of followers. So it helps me for people to subscribe to the channel. It also helps me if you want to, sign up for emails or follow me on some other form of social media. All of those things add to that marketing platform kind of base of numbers that make me look like a good bet for publishers. So that's one of the things that I'm working on the business side of things in terms of my book proposals and the writing that I'm kind of working on right now. I've been also learning how to balance doing the things that feed me, like experiencing flow and drafting new stories, against the things that don't necessarily feed me. So right now I've got a little bit of consulting work that I'm doing that is really not my jam, but I need to get it done by the end of the week. I also have some of these writing projects are not as pleasant because they fill me with imposter syndrome and I'm just not confident in them. And so they don't feel like flow, they feel like homework, and it can be very daunting to get into those. But the problem with all of that work is that it can take up the full work day. And then I feel like I haven't had any fun. I feel like I haven't done anything that fed me. So I've been really working on balancing those two things out and trying to make sure that I'm doing the things that feed me and that I enjoy, as well as the things that have to get done and that need to just kind of clear out of the way. So that's a lot of what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. And I've really been enjoying spending time kind of with myself in terms of the overall all writing kind of progress and projects that I have. I will say that writing is deeply fulfilling. It's definitely self-actualization for me. It's a huge part of who I have always been and who I want to be as I go forward. What I don't know and what no one can really tell me is how it pays the bills. It's always been kind of like supplemental or very low pieces of income for me in the past. And I know that there are ways to make a living writing, full-time jobs even to do it. But the way that I want to write and what I'm writing about, I'm not entirely certain how that, makes enough income to pay my mortgage. That's kind of the lingering anxiety that I've had around my author hat couple of weeks. It has been, yeah, this is great, but maybe it's always a side gig. Maybe it's always a thing I do around the edges. And I don't love that because I want to write full time. That feels amazing. It feels really good. But I'm not sure it's realistic. So that's kind of where I've been in terms of exploring my career path and how I feel. I'm shifting hats and trying on different hats, but I'm also continuing forward with some of these existing experiments. So I do want to actually research how to do this nonfiction book proposal and send it out into the world. I'm very close to finishing it. I just need to tighten up the sample chapter a little bit more. And maybe that'll show me what the income potential is. I don't know. It's apparently easier to get a publishing contract for nonfiction than it is for fiction. So who knows? But as I continue forward in this kind of exploration and understanding, I think what I'll be doing is more of this like kind of trying on hats. And I like doing it for a couple of weeks at a time, mainly because I don't think you can do it just in a day and be like, yep, okay, I tried that hat on. How does that feel? I think it makes more sense to really give myself the time and space to feel it over time and to see where are the pitfalls and where are the challenges and then where are the joys and where does it feel really good. So that I have an understanding of those anxieties as well, because the whole like, how am I going to make money doing this anxiety didn't come up on the first day. It didn't come up in the first couple of days. So it makes sense to have that be something else that I'm working on. So this is trying on the author hat. And the last couple of minutes of this very silly video are one of the other pieces of my daily routine. So I've bookended the writing montage with my daily routine. I start in the morning with my planner and my journal, and then I end the workday playing fetch with Loki. I apologize for how blurry the video is. I was attempting to use my DSLR camera, and the video autofocus is not what I want it to be. So I was attempting to practice it and try it out, and I didn't love it. But you get to see a little glimpse of my backyard, or rather my upper yard. This is half of my yard that we play fetch through the trees. And it is Loki's favorite part of the day, and honestly, it's become one of my favorite parts of the day every day as well. I find it very calming and relaxing and lovely to end the day with a little walk and some tree time and looking at the plants and how they change over the seasons and spotting mushrooms and bear scat and whatever else I find out in the woods every single day. It's always changing, and it's always, really fulfilling to have that moment to be able to observe it. So I hope you enjoy the little montage I've got going on, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you again next week. Thank you.